Well, Pastor, I'm right here.
All right,
Here.
all I need to know. All right, we're going live.
When you holding services, Pastor?
We
come by.
Well, Brooks have to tell you. I mean, we all on lockdown. Can't nobody hold no church.
I know.
And I followed the law. Okay.
I just need a word. That's all. You go ahead.
I follow the law. All right, guys, we're coming in live. Let's go. We are coming in live. We are live on Facebook. We're trying to go live on YouTube. We should be live on Periscope. We should be live on the app. We should be live on every avenue that we can be live on. This is the night that I normally do a prayer meeting, but we're going to hold prayer for 1 minute because we got some stuff we need to talk about. And we have some very important people that are here to discuss what is really going on. Can I get as many of you all that will share to share? If you can share on Facebook, if you can share on Periscope, can I get as many of you all that will share to share? You're looking at some faces, and I'm gonna give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. But I need everyone to share. If you are on Instagram, you can share. If you are on Periscope, you can share. If you are on Facebook, you can share. Everything you can share. I'm on YouTube. Let's go then. All right. So I'm going to give you guys, and I'll explain how we ended up here. Look at Dallas is all up in here. You're not coming back. I just want to put it on the record. He's not coming back. You can move on, okay? All right. So I'm excited to have two powerful men, and how we ended up here was that Sunday night. I was sitting down watching the news, and I saw where before I went to bed, 57 people had been shot, 12 people had been killed, all in one weekend. Well, when I got up that morning, the news had changed. 78 people had been wounded. 14 people had lost their lives. The numbers increased, and I was like, whoa. And so I went live and I said, I believe in Black Lives Matter. I believe in marching. I believe in making a stand. I believe that police officers shouldn't treat us any kind of way. I believe in all of that. I said, but what I'm struggling is that we are gunning one another down and nobody is saying a word. There's a code of silence in our community where people will not share who did what. And I said, until you begin to squeeze the monster out, until you begin to apply pressure and say, no, we're not going to live like this. There's a part of us that have become desensitized to going to funerals. We have so many deaths that it is amazing that this generation is just another one. And we should never get comfortable with violence. We should never get comfortable with people not being able to live their lives out. So as a result of that, I called someone that I've had a relationship for a long time, Mr. Glenn Brooks. He's moved up the ladder. I knew him when he was a scrub. Now, he big time now. I don't even know what his title is. I just know he's a HNIC.
I'm employed. Employed. That's what I tell my mother every day. I'm employed.
What is your title now, Glenn?
I'm the director of community policing.
Director of what now?
Community policing for the Chicago Police Department.
Okay, and how long have you been working in Chicago and for the city? I've
been here for 17, 18 years now. I've been all over the city. The superintendent has elected to keep me here, which I'm very grateful for. But
I had to give him a raise, Pastor.
Hey, it's all about increase. Give him a reason to stay.
So his tithes should go up accordingly.
Come on here. I need to make sure he's one of my tithers. Listen. Let me just say, Glenn was always instrumental with me working in the Grand Crossing community when we attempted to shut down some of the liquor stores because we had too many liquor stores in our community. One liquor store that had been there for years, but we applied pressure for them to put lights, clean up their store. He was very instrumental for all of our prayers on the 9. Glenn has been that person for us to make sure that we've been able to line thousands of people up down 79th Street praying. I'm also excited to have the new kid on the block in our city. And that is none other than our new superintendent, David Brown. He's new to the city, but old to the game. And a lot of people will try to run down south, but I want people to know they popping down south too. Don't think that down south is heaven, because it's a lot going on in the south. Why don't you tell us your background and what qualified you to come to Chicago?
Thank you so much, Pastor Hannah, for having me. And again, I want to start off by saying, don't let these glasses fool you. I've been in policing for 33 years as a Dallas cop. I was second in command for 6 years before becoming chief, and I was police chief in Dallas for 6 years. So 12 years at the top. I've done every job. I've done SWAT, internal affairs. One of the things that I'm most proud of is I believe in diversity, and I believe in holding cops accountable. I also believe that the profession is a noble profession only if we hold ourselves accountable to treating people with respect. And I do that because I never forgot where I came from. I'm from a poor community in Dallas, and people in that community raised me, mentored me, loved on me, kept me on the right path. And I feel like I have an obligation to communities like mine. So South Side, West Side, I'm your adopted son now. And I feel like I owe you. I feel like I owe you this department's respect. And I'll do everything within my power to ensure we hold true to our oath. I'll do everything in my power, and I'm serious about it. In the South, we say, I'm not playing. I'm not playing about it.
Yes,
so if you all just give me the chance to get to know you, I think I'll make you proud.
If anything that I've been doing, Superintendent, is that we've been praying for you because I am born and raised in Chicago. I'm born and raised on the West Side. I'm a product of Chicago Housing Authority. I was sent out of the city. I ended up at Alabama State University getting a degree in criminal justice, came back assigned as a juvenile probation officer, and I asked them to put me in Inglewood because I believe that we are to bring about change. That was years ago. The game has changed now. Glenn, you've now been there for a while. Things have changed, bro. There's one scripture that I know this is the Bible, so I just want to say there's a scripture that says this, and there arose another generation after them that knew not the Lord. In other words, as time got older, this generation didn't have a God conscious. And my fear is that we are dealing with a generation that doesn't have fear. They don't have a God conscious. They lack respect, but I still believe in them. I still want to live among them. I still want to preach among them because we are light in the midst of darkness. As things have changed, Glenn Brooks, my question to you is, what do you honestly see on these streets? Because you've been here for a while now.
So, honestly, over the last couple years, we have made a transformation away from a structure where you know who the guys were who was doing dirt, right? And it has really changed to where we have so much violence, and it's accepted amongst these young people where a simple disrespect, it wasn't just stepping on your gym shoes. Now it's what you said on Facebook. Now it's about what you said in Twitter, that violence has just that conflict online has transferred into the streets and for people to die. And it has seemed like the younger generation has accepted that that's a real possibility, or that's acceptable, not a possibility, that's acceptable. They can use violence. That has changed. Before, violence was a mean of the crime of the game. Now it's a means of life. And that has been a significant change. And that's where we lost people this weekend just because of that. And that's been a real change that I've seen.
Now, Superintendent, with you being new to the city, there's certain things that we can't hold you responsible for. Like with him just saying that you disrespected me on Facebook and they post, I'm going to get you. It's posted. I am going to get you. It's out there. Some of them are so bold to even show their guns. Some of them are just so bold to show that they're headed out. It is there. The problem that we have in Chicago, and I need, maybe you can help me with this, is it's never addressed. It's never investigated. 80%, and Father Flager did an amazing press conference yesterday and was live on social media. He brought up parents whose kids have been murdered, and they saying it's still open. It's never been investigated. It's been 2 years. It's been 3 years. 80% of our cases are never solved, which lets us know that you could pop somebody in our community and it just won't be solved, even if it's easy enough in doing an investigation. Let me say this, I'm gonna let you talk.
Sure.
Our old mayor, Rahm Emanuel's son, got robbed. They beat him up and stole his phone. I was watching the news that night. I sat back, I said, they are going to find out who beat this kid up and who took his phone. If I be a man of God, they're gonna find this boy. And within 48 hours, they had found the person who only beat him up and only took his phone. But nevertheless, our sons are lying in the streets with their guts blown out and nobody is investigated. So how do you plan on changing that?
One of the things that I will do is holding us accountable to giving everyone their deserved measure of respect. That's what it starts with. You know, if I don't do the same job for you that I do for someone else of another persuasion, I haven't respected you. And so that's one of the things that I insist on, to the point where, you know, you won't be one of the top leaders over the detectives organization if you can't deliver just basic respect, treating people like they deserve to be treated, which means a thorough investigation, regardless of what part of town, what you look like, or the circumstances. I will also say, many times we want to take care of ourselves and we don't want to cooperate on the front end. We'll say, we'll be shot in the hospital. No, I got this. I don't need the police help. Me and my boys gonna take care of ourselves. That's some of it as well. And the other part,
I agree.
Yeah, and another part of it is the retaliation piece is real.
It is real.
We cannot ignore that. If I do cooperate, now I gotta look over my shoulder for the rest of the time I'm in this neighborhood, because you and your people gonna retaliate against me if I come forward and cooperate. So there's 3 different nuanced levels of your point, Pastor. It's one, we gotta treat everybody with respect. I agree with that. We got some shortcomings. We need to up our game on respect, no matter where you are, where you live, or who you are. But also,
what do you do with a generation that has not been taught respect? See, we're from the old school. We were taught respect. And I'm saying this respectfully. This is a generation, they're not taught respect. They don't respect their teachers. They don't respect the police officers. I had a kid one time that grabbed his mama and choked her. That would have been on my death certificate.
Well, yeah.
The cause of death on my death certificate. But it's another world out here. But what I'm saying to you, and what I'm saying is, I know that retaliation is real, but watch me. But if nobody does an investigation and they just keep retaliating, nobody stepped in to say, okay, now this is connected to this and this is connected to this. It just continues a cycle.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you on that piece. I was just describing the 3 different levels of what we're dealing with. We're not just dealing with a thorough investigation. We're also dealing with, I want to take care of it myself. I don't need the police to take care of my business. And we're also dealing with, I'm afraid to come forward because I'll be retaliated against. But the first thing I said, and I'll repeat, we have to do a better job of investigating. You're correct on that.
Okay. So I don't know if you know the numbers yet, but I'm going to challenge you because you're new and you can do it. I love my church. I love my church because I get people who have no church background. I can't explain it, but Superintendent, God has anointed me to get some hood people. I love my hood people. Like, I love them. They come here, they talk to me, they open, they honest. And one of my street guys came to me. He says, Pastor Hannah, can I be honest with you? He says, everybody knows who does the murdering. Everybody knows who's doing the shooting, but the police know too. But as long as we kill each other, it's not their issue. Now that messed me up. Now I want to challenge you to look at something. You'll learn later that as big as this city is also one of the most segregated cities in the United States of America. Prejudice is real in this city. And there are people that have a lack of faith in another nationality if they're really going to have the value or the concern of our lives. So when you look at your investigators, number one, how many do you have? Number two, how many of them are African American? How many of them are white? How many of them have been on the job for a long time and just are not going to do, they just wait on their retirement? Versus the new fresh blood who wants to come in and really make a change.
So I have 800 investigators, and very few of them are people of color.
You just hit something.
That's jumped out on the page when I first got here. If you know anything about me, I don't just talk about diversity. I deliver diversity. I deliver it. So watch me, Pastor. You just watch me and hold me accountable. I've been here 8 weeks, but you just watch. Okay. I'm not just talking about diversity. I really believe in diversity to include women in high places, especially women of color. So you just watch me diversify this department, particularly in the areas where we don't have much diversity, like the Detective Bureau.
So I'm loving this platform that you're saying, give you a chance, and we're ready for it. So I work for county, and I feel like me and you gonna have a good relationship. Listen to me. Yep. I work for the county, and when I work for the county, I would go into work, and there were people just sitting there. I'm not gonna quit this job. I'm just waiting to get my retirement, and they had nothing positive to say. Nothing positive to say. My biggest fear is that those that we expect to investigate and stop, many of them are ready to go. They're ready to retire. They're not going to do what it takes. Young, fresh blood puts more of a drive. We call for the old because they have wisdom, but we call for the young because they're strong. And we're saying that you're going to have to get some fresh, strong blood up in there who can relate to the culture and the community to turn some things around. I know of a police officer who says, and this messed me up, and I'm only going to be honest with you guys while you're on it. Maybe Brooks, you can help me with this. He's a police officer. He says, I really didn't understand how prejudiced the city was until I started working with some of the police officers. He says, what a better job to have if you don't like minority. That scared me. That scared me. And I think that's why people are saying there needs to be some community interaction, not to defund you, but basically say, I need us to have relationship. I need us to communicate. What do you say to that, Brooks?
So let me just tell you, this is what I've experienced of this superintendent in the last 8 weeks. Okay. First of all, when he came in the door, the first thing he wanted to do was meet with his community people. I'm not talking about, okay, let me get settled for 2 weeks. Let me then go through all of everybody in patrol investigation and all that, and then we'll get around to community policing. The first thing he did before he was sworn in was to sit us down, or sit me down in a room, and to say, talk to me about community policing. And this is the most important thing. So now, it's one thing, okay, you meet with the community guy, that's one thing. It's great for my ego, I loved it. But here's the difference. He sat down with every chief and what we call our command staff, and he started off, we are going to start with our relationship with the community. That's a different perspective. And I've been here for several superintendents. No one has said that. No one has said that the relationship with the community is key to us making the community safer. That's number one. Number two, when you start talking about accountability, and I've been here for a minute, okay, the superintendent here has been here for 8 weeks. 8 weeks. In that 8 weeks, I've seen him strip and hold accountable officers at a level that hasn't been achieved over the past 10 years. In the last 10 years, we have not seen the accountability that he's held everyone to. And when I tell you that message has been clearly heard within the leadership of this department, it has not only been heard, but it's being acted upon.
Great.
In the last 8 weeks, he's set in motion a change. Now let's talk about change, because I know when we hear change, we want it to happen tomorrow.
We know these roots run deep. We know these roots run deep. And the deeper the roots run, the harder it is to pull it up.
And, so, and he's tugging, but he is going to need, and I'm just being honest, because we've all been here in Chicago, he is going to need the support, love, and prayers of not only your church, but everybody in this city. Because the roots that run this deep is going to require all of us not only to pray, but this is one thing I love about your church, is the good work. Because we're going to have to work together to make this change. Because this weekend was beyond heartbreaking. I literally have to leave the scene of the 3-year-old and go home just to hug my son. Because there is just, it's too heartbreaking. We can do this, but I'm telling you, he's genuine in what he says. And, usually it takes a couple more months before you see that side of a person that you don't want to see. He's held people accountable from day one.
I'm from this city, and I know that these roots run deep. I know that police union is another kind of mafia. I get it. The streets is a mafia. That's a mafia. I get it. So we wrapping you in prayer. The only thing that I want to really make clear to you is that 80% of unsolved murders in this city, that's too high. And then they walk around in our community after everybody know that they have committed a murder, or they get arrested and go down there and get out on bond or electronic monitoring, and nobody monitors the electronic See, I know the system because I worked it. Bro, I know this system. I want to go here with you. So you promising us that when it comes to investigation, that you would definitely begin to look at putting mixing it up
yes.
as far as race is concerned.
Yes.
And the Bible lay aside the dead weight. All right, so that's one. All right, let's go here. What do I need to do if I know that someone committed this crime? I can't walk into your police station. Is there a way that I can contact somebody and be that anonymous person that you take the information and at least you go look into it? Is there a number that I can call? What needs to be done so that people can feel safe speaking up?
Yeah, there's tip lines, there's anonymous ways to do it. But let me talk through this, Pastor, because this is really, really important. Mm-hmm. Most people don't want to have to testify in court.
Right.
So when we say we know who did it, that means you have to testify. But evidence comes in many shapes and forms. And it doesn't always mean testify in court, because that's really been the hurdle, is that, man, I can tell you who did it, but I'm not going to testify in court. So what if you knew more information about the shooting in detail that could point us? Well, he drives this car. This is a license plate number. I saw him put the gun here. Oh, his girlfriend live over here. Oh, his baby mama live over there. Now you've given us what we call leads. Sometimes we don't need you to testify as much as you think we need you to testify, and that's preventing you from coming forward. but we are lacking leads. Let me tell you who saw most homicides. Girlfriends.
Really?
You know what I know about killers?
They get mad and then
They're bad at relationships, bro. They're bad at relationships. All you gotta do is know all his baby mamas, and one of them gonna be mad at him this week. And we're gonna solve that murder. We're gonna solve that murder.
Okay.
But she gonna tell us everything about it. So it's not so much about and Glenn can get you all the tip line information, so people can call in. But I needed to walk you through what's really needed. We need leads. We don't necessarily need you to testify in court.
So like
that's scaring you off.
The young man whose picture is all over the news. The one
everybody knows him. We should have him in custody by now because
you
somebody
don't have him yet.
No, not yet. Everybody knows him. That was a clear picture. All we need is you to call and give us a lead. If you don't want to testify in court, call and give us a lead. His girlfriend live over here. His baby mama live over there. His mama live right here. He gonna be in one of those places, and we'll take it from there. You don't have to testify in court to give us a lead.
Okay, so I think my assignment is to talk, and then my assignment is to pray. One of the things that we have to pray about is the protection of those that do speak. Like there were two women that was in Inglewood that were determined to protect their block. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Glenn? The two women.
We're at which block? Because we got more than just two.
But remember, two women were killed.
On the west?
On the south side, two women were killed.
Oh, yeah. On 75th Street, off of 75th. Yep, I got you.
Superintendent, these were two women who were determined that they were not going to let gangs and drugs and all of that take over their community, and they were killed. Now, what the question is, was that solved? So a lot of faith in this has been destroyed, and I want you to feel the weight of it, but I don't want you to break. You got to give people a reason to believe in you. That wasn't solved. I went on my phone on my comments, and I just started reading some of the comments, and they were talking about an 18-year-old girl who was a witness and was gunned down. She was pregnant because she was a witness. Another person told me, I told the police who did it, and the police said to me, now you do understand that they will know that you told me this, and you do understand that they know where you live, and you do understand that this might come back and bite you. And she says, he literally made me recant my testimony.
That's embarrassing. That's horrible. That we should not be doing that. Man, one of the things I really want to convey to people, I'm for real about doing this job the right way. I mean, I'm so for real. I'm for real, Pastor, about it.
I believe you.
I believe it. I all of my adult life, I've done this in the way that makes my community proud. I really believe that people are watching me and holding me accountable, and I don't want to let them down. So if Chicago would just give me a chance, if West Side, South Side, just give me a chance to show you what this really can look like when we respect you, and do this job the right way and solve the crimes that you help us get leads on.
So
we need leads.
If you guys have questions, you can put your questions up and we can ask them. If you have any questions, we're only going to do this for a few more minutes because we want them to go fight crime. But if you have any questions, Glenn, I think that you need to give us if I wanted to, what's the tip hotline number?
CPDtips.org. You can go to the Chicago website and you can enter a tip. It's completely anonymous. Now, let me tell you about the anonymous part. When you submit a tip to us, it actually leaves the country. They scrub all the identifying information, and then they send it back to us. It's not even the same email text that you sent. It goes out of the country, it goes actually to Canada, they scrub it, and they send it back to us. So you can give us anonymous. So there's a number of ways to do that. You can still call 911 and give us anonymous information. You can still reach out. Listen, I will tell you a quick anecdote. This morning, somebody reached out to give us information but they reached out to their pastor. That pastor called me, and I had the detectives meet them in such a way that it was anonymous. None of the neighbors, none of the family know, and so forth. So there's ways to do it. We do that all the time, whether it be a pastor, whether it be an elected official, whether it be a trusted member in that community, that information gets to us. The most important thing, as the superintendent said, we need the information to get those leads.
Okay. Is there anything called the Witness Protection Program? Someone just asked that question on Facebook.
Yes, there is. It's a federal program through the U.S. Marshals in this area. So it's not like the movies, but there is a formal witness protection program that the U.S. Marshals administer.
Okay. So this is an issue too. A kid commits a crime. A lot of these murders are not old people. These are young. They go and they commit a crime and the judge let them out. They don't hold them at juvenile detention center. They release them back to the streets, which sends a whole nother message to the street. And I don't know if it was because at one point there were so many kids in lockup that they needed to clean that building out. But is there anything in place that if it is a violent offense, that kid can be held? Because right now, before you can even write it up, the kid is let out back on the streets. And now, I hate to do this, is that a white judge who's not sensitive to us, who's just gonna release it back into our community, but you'll never let it back in yours?
So mass incarceration was wrong and horrible in the 80s and 90s. It was wrong and horrible. Did we overcorrect in some areas and not be sensitive to that percentage of people that need to be in jail because they're going to harm us? And so there is the debate here, I think, that needs to be had in Chicago. Can we come to this more moderate sentencing for violent felons that's not mass incarceration, but it does protect the community? So it is a very nuanced debate. Again, I've been here 8 weeks, and I'm starting down the road of debating, why can't we do the type of things for that percentage of people that commit violent crime that would harm all of us if they're free and they need to be in jail? Some mamas of these people would rather have them in jail than dead on the street. I know that to be true.
All right. Any questions coming up? When kids are arrested, are they released to their parent? When I was a probation officer, and I'm saying this respectfully, I would have to go to the house and do what they call a social investigation. Sit down, talk to the mother, go to the school. And to be honest with you, out of all due respect, what we saw as family is not that anymore.
Right.
It is not
right.
that. These kids curse their mothers out. These kids disrespect their grandparents. They do whatever they want to do, and nobody can stop them. So it's a whole nother world out here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember me sitting down. I was like, God, I am black. I've been black all my life. Who are these people? Because I was like, what is this world? Because it was new to me. Because I didn't know disrespect. I didn't know. If your mother said something, you just did it. We didn't ask what or why. Those things just didn't happen. So, number one, the police department. Number two, I can call a hotline. I can remain anonymous. You say if I call that in, it is sent to another country. You can't trace it back to me.
That's correct. When you use CPD tips, that is an anonymous tip. And I see a quick question. Can you send photos and videos? I know you can send photos. I got to double check on the videos. Initially, there was some issues with that, but I think we've corrected that, and you can now send videos.
Yeah, you can send a video. That's how police are getting caught on video. Yeah. If we can fire a police officer, get them locked up over a video, surely you can get people on the street.
Yep.
All right.
Pastor, can I interject on one thing you said about the family structure, Pastor?
Mm-hmm.
So many of these young people that we describe have never been told or treated like they've been loved.
I agree.
or cared about it anyway. And nobody ever says it to them. They never heard it. I can't imagine growing up to being a young adult and never hearing, I care about you, I love you, in your family structure. And as much as that is hard for us to really digest, if we grew up with loving, caring family members, these young people likely do not have that loving family structure.
I agree.
And I for one will say here right now, brother, I care about you. I love you, but you need to get off them corners and you need to put those guns down. But I, for one, care about you and I love you. And I just had to get that off my chest, Pastor, because they may not have ever heard it from anyone.
I agree. You said something on the news, you said there's 3 problems in this city that's causing this. It's drugs, it's gangs, and it's guns. Is that what you said?
Guns, and guns. Drugs, gangs, and guns.
That's what you said. Back in the day, there was someone that gangs would listen to. Has there been anyone that's been able to say, let's meet with this gang? Let's have a conversation that could possibly stop the gang war? Is there, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been a probation officer now for years. Has anything been, because certain communities is where it's higher. South Shore right now is popping.
Yeah.
Lawndale, popping. Austin, popping. Inglewood, popping. I know this city. What community officers can have that, or community leaders have that kind of relationship that they could make that call and just have conversations? Because we just hit the first day of summer. We can't live like this.
I don't know, Glenn, you want to talk about street outreach or the violence interrupters, but that's in place here. It's not been in place a very long time. And Glenn, I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yeah. So a couple things. So absolutely we do. We have some relationships here. Now here's one of the challenges, and I'm just going to be frank with y'all, is that we don't have it in every community where we need it, and we're trying to get more resources to put it out there. Now let me tell you when it's been successful. Most everybody remembers a couple of weeks ago when we had the Latin and Black war going over there in the 10th district, over there in South Lawndale and so forth. There were multiple meetings, not only with both sides that the outreach has helped us facilitate, along with some of our faith leaders that helped bring that to a calm where we didn't have a back and forth. So we know it can work. It's a matter of us expanding it and getting more resources to that. And here's something that you've got to know. The mayor's office and the mayor has been an advocate to make sure that we do this, because we do realize, to your point, Pastor, that we have to have people who reach out there and put our arms around them and say there has to be another way. And outreach has been a valuable partner for us, but we got to get them more resources and we got to ingrain them more into the community so they can be more effective. And so we are doing that, but we can do more of that.
Okay.
And Mayor, some of the bias is the most effective street outreach are likely former gang members, former drug dealers, but they're effective. And we just cannot have that bias towards them based on their former life. They want to do the right thing now. And we often shut them down, shut them out because of their former life. I'm not one of those people that do that. I welcome their input, much like any former person. They can be some of the most trustworthy people. All these former, right. So I would say that openly, street outreach, violence interrupters are a value add to helping this city calm some of the violence. It just needs to expand and grow.
Yeah. I want to say this, because I'm watching about programs and everything like that. And systematic, prejudice is real. When I went to South Africa, I went to go preach for a man that believed in apartheid. I preached for a black pastor, and he said, and God saved him. He says, now you must pastor what you hated.
Oh.
He said, I was a part of the system that made sure that a certain group didn't get quality education, didn't get quality jobs, didn't get the right health benefits. I was a part of making sure that I starved those people of the basic necessities. If I starve you long enough of what is considered the basic necessities, then you turn into something that we know that you will begin to self-destruct. That is what we're looking at. And he is saying, I was a part of that system. So now my assignment is to expose that system. Education is key. Programs are key. Mental illness is real. Our kids get to see their friends die, get shot down, get gunned down, and say, okay, now get up, just continue on without dealing with the trauma of that. So we're looking at counseling that needs to be done in our community, therapy that needs to be done in our community, the basic necessities that our schools should have quality education, parenting classes, parenting support groups. Guys, I get all of that. But I will say this to everyone that is listening. It is not the city's responsibility to raise your children. It is not the Chicago Police Department to raise your children. It is not even the school teacher's responsibility to raise your children. We have to deal with people who decide to have kids but don't want to be parents.
You better preach.
But again,
yeah.
I wanted you, Superintendent, to know that you have a group that is now wrapping you in prayer. You have a group that you are on here telling us, trust me, change is coming.
Yes.
I know that it will take some time. And I don't want you to think that we are not sensitive to what you are fighting, because roots run deep in this city.
Very deep.
They are very deep. We are known as the corrupt mafia city. It is what it is. That is the spirit of this city. But at the same time, we are here to pray for you. We are here to make sure that you are covered. The only thing I want to say to all of us, and I will let you guys have closing arguments. See, I've been in court too. Brooks, I'll let you have something to say, and then Superintendent, I'll let you have something to say, and then if you don't mind, I just want to pray for you guys, and then we'll let you guys leave. Brooks.
Thank you, Pastor. So first, thank you so much for the opportunity. Listen, I know we're in a COVID world, and it's important that we all stay safe, and we're going to have to do the things that's necessary. But I look forward. I so look forward to the day when we can go back out there on the streets and continue this work. The work that you do on 79th Street, the work that you do up and down, the work that you do responding to trauma is so needed today more than it was yesterday, the month before, and so forth. We got to get back out there and do the work. Now, we might not be able to do it as big, but what we can do, we need to do. So I look forward to that day when we can get back to the street. I look forward to all that you can bring. And I especially want to thank you. You guys have been so kind in your outreach to the department and making sure that we can stay in the fight. And I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate you, the meals, the prayers, and the love you've extended to not only to the department, but to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Great. Superintendent.
Pastor, I just wanted to say again, echo what Glenn is saying. Man, I'm so appreciative of your inviting me to this platform to discuss who I am and convey my message. And I really welcome the prayers and support. But I also want to say this as well. Hold me accountable to this conversation. You should get the best of me and no less. And I'm not fragile. I'm not one to shrink from my responsibility. And I'll be seeing you in the neighborhood, Pastor. I'll be seeing you in the neighborhood.
We're gonna be connected. We're definitely gonna be connected. And Brooks can tell you I'm a man of action. I don't like cameras a lot. I don't have to be in front of a camera. I'll let those that are thirsty for the camera get in front of the camera. I just want to do the work. And I love my city. If you've never met a person that loves their city, I love my city. I don't want to leave. I don't want to move into a gated community. I don't want to live downtown. But I want to live among my people. I just say to you, please do your homework on the investigators. They're more older than younger. They're more white than black. There are more unsolved cases than those that are solved. And if we don't feel as if, and this is the thing of the retaliation, because if they don't trust you to deal with it, then they feel as if they have to take matters into their own hands. So we're definitely going to be praying with you on that end. The second thing that we want to make sure that we cover with you is that God would raise up the people that could call the meetings with the gangs, that you could say what you said. I don't want to see you out here like this. I'm now going to get on the phone and start making some phone calls. Who can call this meeting? Who can get this meeting together? At the same time, for those of you that are watching, please, if you're watching this, if you know of anything, silence is approval. Silence is approval. Call the anonymous number, report it, send it in. Trust them when it comes to this. But even the young man whose picture is flashing all over the news, somebody knows who that is. We have to say something, because silence is approval. All right? Let me pray for you guys, and then we'll let you guys go. So God, I thank you, I honor you, and I magnify you. I thank you, God, for these men of power. I ask, God, that you cover them, shield them, and protect them. I pray a special prayer for our new superintendent. I pray that you put the right people around him. I've asked, God, that he have the spirit of Joshua, strong and courageous. I come against any backlash. I ask, God, that you give him support. I ask, God, that you give him wisdom to sit in the seat that he is sitting in. Continue to lead him and direct him. Let him be light in the midst of this darkness, and we give you glory. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
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 I appreciate you.
God bless, Pastor.
We'll be talking.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you,
I'm
guys.
gonna get you the Ray-Bans, Pastor. I'm gonna get you the Ray-Bans soon. Ray-Bans soon.
He gonna tell you, I'm a glass fanatic. I got more glasses. Trust me. We gonna talk.
Yes, you do.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. So guys, you can let them go. I appreciate